you, everyone. Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, Festivus, whatever you're celebrating. I am in mourning at the loss of the Ravens season, and here to console me and talk all things football, one of the guys we love to have on the program. Haven't seen him in a couple of weeks, haven't had him on in a couple of months. We welcome Solomon Wilcots back on, who will be doing Indianapolis and Jacksonville this weekend. You know, I thought maybe you would get this Bengals Ravens assignment, being that you live in Cincinnati, right?
I know. I was waiting. And that's why I was watching the Ravens-Steelers game with bated breath as you were, and quite surprised at the outcome. But don't leap yet. Just save yourself. The Ravens got a chance to go 8-8 or 9-7.
9-7.
Excuse me.
Absolutely.
And but yeah, it'll be okay. They're trending upward. It'll be an interesting offseason for the Ravens.
You shocked that they lost in Pittsburgh on Christmas? I mean, especially, look, at beginning of the fourth quarter, I Facebooked and tweeted Solly. I said, they have a 10-point lead with 14 minutes left to go on the road in Pittsburgh where they win a lot. What could possibly go wrong? And then the fourth quarter happened, right?
I know, and Joe Flacco kept taking them down the field. Kyle Juszczyk, he's making plays. There's no doubt. I thought the lead would hold up. Ravens defense to the rescue. I thought it would all be fine, but my goodness, Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, that group, tough group. It's a rivalry for a reason because you can't predict whoever's going to win that game.
So how many games do you do a year, Sally? You do 16, 17 like that, one every week, or do you have a bye week?
I wish I had a bye week. All 17 weeks, from wire to wire. We're on the road at an NFL game in the broadcast booth, but I enjoy every minute of it.
Well, I was going to say, out of the 17 weeks, I bet a dozen of the weeks you've had one of these four AFC. You're sort of kind of the AFC North guy. You live in Cincinnati. We see you here in Baltimore. I don't think it was a shocker that Pittsburgh won the division, but I would say in Cincinnati, where we're going this week, that is the biggest shock, right? The shock is we're talking about Marvin Lewis's job. We're talking about who's picking the players there. We're talking about the Brown family again. For the Bengals and the Ravens to have their noses up against the glass watching the Kansas Cities and the Oaklands and the Miamis play football here the next couple of weeks, I mean, these are organizations over the last decade, both of them, for Harbaugh and for Marvin Lewis, that have been at the top. I mean, you've seen the best football in football the last decade running around with the AFC North, Solly.
Oh, it's some of the best football, you're right. And over the last 5 years, Cincinnati is the only team in that division that has gone to the playoffs each of the last 5 years, and now they're on the outside looking in. But how many times over that period have we seen three, not one or two, but three teams make it from the AFC North? So it's a competitive division. While you might fall down one year, as we've seen Pittsburgh, we've seen Baltimore do it, and now it's the Bengals' turn. None of them have slipped into oblivion. None of them have consistently missed the playoffs, and I think Cincinnati's going to be fine. It's just one of those years. You got to learn to win those games. You got to be able to stay healthy, and instead of losing those games in the final minutes, you got to learn to win them. But all three of these teams are highly competitive, and I think that's what you're going to see when Cincinnati and Baltimore play Week 17.
Solomon Wilcots, he is Solomon's Wisdom out on Twitter. You can follow his journey as well as that at CBS Sports and, of course, calling Indianapolis and Jacksonville. There's a lot of teams get their feelings hurt here, and there's going to be, another 11 out of 12 teams that are going to be feeling real good about themselves on Monday because they're playing playoff football. But there's only going to be one winner when you and I get together in Houston. Everybody else has to sort of build and figure this thing out. I think the real shame for the playoffs this year has been this spate of injuries the last couple of weeks. I mean, Mariota, where they don't get a chance to get in. And I was out there with Jack Del Rio about 6 weeks ago in Oakland, and I saw what he's building out there with Derek Carr. A very, very unfortunate injury there. It's going to affect everything about the postseason, I think.
Can you imagine Week 16, Ness? 3 teams had a player that broke the fibula bone in their lower leg. It's that bone, a non-weight-bearing bone. But Derek Carr, Marcus Mariota, and Tyler Lockett of the Seattle Seahawks And these three players could be affected, not just the player, but the team, and their hopes of making a deep run into the playoffs could be affected. I mean, Mariota finishes that game. Who knows? Maybe they come back and win it, and they're playing for a division title here this week against Houston. But, oh, no, he's gone, and so are their hopes of making the playoffs. I don't know how far the Ravens can go without Derek Carr after he broke his fibula bone. And Tyler Lockett is critical to their point production on offense in Seattle. Who would have thought that one little small non-weight-bearing bone in the leg of three players could affect their playoff hope so enormously? It's just, I think it's incredible.
Solly, I'll tell you, man, the league threw Tom Brady out for a month to sort of level the playing field, and it didn't level anything. I mean, they're going to be 13-3 or 14-2, whatever they want to be, but they're going to have home cooking, through this tournament at this point. And I'm hard pressed to not think that when I arrive in Houston on the 29th of January for a week of broadcast, that Bill Belichick and Tom Brady will be getting off a plane in their little white sweater and having another press conference, right?
I can't find anyone who's going to go into Gillette Stadium and beat them. Now, they still have work to do week 17. They've got to win down in Miami. And then they'll be able to secure home field advantage. But providing they're able to do that, to me, they will be the last team standing in the AFC. I can't find a team right now that's going to go into Gillette Stadium and beat them in the postseason. I just can't find a team that's going to do that. So if they get home field advantage, yeah, let's go ahead and punch their ticket and say that they're going to be playing in Houston. There's no doubt.
Solomon Wilcott's joining us here. You can follow his journey at Solomon's Wisdom out on Twitter as well. For the Ravens and for the offseason and sort of picking up the pieces here, obviously Juszczyk's going to the Pro Bowl, Brandon Williams. These are guys that they're going to need to figure out contracts. Nobody's been better at that than Ozzie. Terrell Suggs got a little snippy with me in Pittsburgh on Christmas night when I asked if he was coming back again next year and looking forward to it. He said yes. It'll be interesting to see if the Ravens want him back. Clearly the pass rush was lacking in the end, Solly. And more than, you being a defensive back guy yourself, the Jimmy Smith thing, when you go back and look at these losses now, whether it was Des Bryant, whether it was Odell Beckham, Antonio Brown in Pittsburgh, the big play that went over Weddle's head in New England, I mean, it really was about wide receivers, number one, decorated Pro Bowl, Hall of Very Good kind of wide receivers making their way over the Ravens in the fourth quarter, and that just can't happen. You can't have the other team's number one wide receiver beat you in the fourth quarter 3 different times, and it happened, and I never realized how important Jimmy Smith was, but I'm sold on it at this point, Solly.
Well, yeah, I mean, let's go back to 2015, 1 year ago. It was the same problem. I thought the secondary, I mean, how many times the Ravens have to watch A.J. Green make that fourth quarter 80-yard play when everybody in the stadium know he's going to get the ball and he still gets it and beat you? There's no doubt the Ravens have to upgrade their secondary. I think some of the young players, Tim Jernigan and P.J. Mosley, some of the front players on the front end of the defense who are very young have really come through for that organization. The secondary is the last component and the last part that really has remained lacking. And, Ozzie knows this. Coach Harbaugh knows this. The two areas that get you beat faster than any other area on your football team is the quarterback position and the cornerback position. Because if you make a mistake in that secondary, the official is holding up both arms, signaling a touchdown. So, yeah, you got to get better on the back end. I think that's where the Ravens have to be able to address those areas. And how about this? They got to get a bell cow runner. I mean, I think Le'Veon Bell has shown you that. I think the Bengals have shown you that. They've got two guys they can throw at you in Giovanni Bernard and Jeremy Hill. But Le'Veon Bell has really transformed the Steelers' offense. And right now, I think it's what the Baltimore Ravens on offense, I think it's what they're sorely lacking.
Well, I would say Kenneth Dixon showed some flash here in this last month, and some of the reason the team was so excited about drafting him, getting him on the field back in August. He got injured during the preseason after looking like a guy they wanted to go with. Some shades of Ray Rice, and as we pointed out earlier this week, we never saw Ray Rice drag half the Steelers' defense toward Harrisburg before, you know?
Yeah, but remember when Ray Rice was really good? He wasn't just a runner. He was that. But you remember converting that, 4th and 25 in San Diego? He could catch it out of the backfield and make you miss and be special as a receiver out of the backfield. That's what Le'Veon Bell is. That's what Giovanni Bernard is. To me, the best running backs in the league, whether you're talking about what Arizona has or what any of the top offenses, I'm talking about that kind of dynamic runner, receiver, yards from scrimmage type of running back. You give Joe Flacco one of those, and you'll watch that offense become a top 10, top 5 offense in the NFL.
Solomon Wilcott's joining us here. He was one of the few, I should say, not the many, that witnessed history over the weekend. You got to call the Cleveland game, huh? I guess for the people that showed up, and, I know tickets were $1 out on StubHub, made their way to the stadium that day to watch the Chargers freeze themselves. I'm not shocked that the Chargers were the ones that got beat, but I am a little shocked that the Browns actually won one.
Well, I wasn't. I can tell you, I came in, and here's the deal. We all know Phillip Rivers is a franchise quarterback. He's going to give his team a chance to win every single week. But coming into that game, Ness, the Chargers had lost 13 of their previous 16 games on the road. They lead the league in giveaways. That means their offense turns it over more than any other team in the NFL. Recipe for disaster. The weather outside was frightening on Christmas Eve in Cleveland. It certainly wasn't San Diego weather. So when you start to throw those components in, road teams, struggles on the road, coming in from the West Coast, chilly, cold, almost freezing temperatures, and you're just a turnover machine, I can tell you right now, Hugh Jackson's a good enough coach to take advantage of that. And that's exactly what happened.
Well, for the Ravens, we're going to be watching football here the next couple of weeks. It's very uncomfortable to sit around and watch the Patriots and the Steelers play and us having to pick up sides. Certainly from the NFC, what the Cowboys showed on Monday night, especially in that second half, you talk about who's going to beat New England. I don't know who's going to beat the Cowboys. I mean, if you gave me the Cowboys or the Patriots, I would probably at this point think the Cowboys have a better chance of getting there. They look like destiny has kissed them. Right?
They really do. But I could tell you this. Rookie, and listen, Dak Prescott has been phenomenal. In fact, he's doing something that no other rookie has ever done in the 97-year history of our league. Right now, he ranks number 1 among all rookie quarterbacks in the history of this league in wins in a rookie season, completion percentage during a rookie season, touchdown-interception ratio has never been better for a rookie quarterback, and his passer rating is higher than any other rookie quarterback in the 97-year history of our league. So he has already defied logic in terms of what we could expect from any rookie. You throw Ezekiel Elliott in the mix, you say, yeah, they got a chance of doing anything and beating anyone. However, when you get into the postseason, playoff football, it is unlike the regular season. The intensity goes up. The attention to detail and all of those things that no other rookie has yet to experience, that's what you're facing. And then you're facing it against the best chess match coach who knows how to beat you in so many different ways, and Bill Belichick and then Tom Brady, that it's going to be the ultimate test for a rookie like Dak Prescott and a rookie like Ezekiel Elliott, and a defense that is improving, but still we know has some vulnerabilities in it. They're very good, but they're going to have to be at their absolute best if they face New England in the Super Bowl and think they're going to win.
People sleeping on the Falcons a little bit, right? 500 points, right? I mean, it's insane what Matt Ryan's done there and how quietly it's gotten done in Atlanta because they haven't been on the bright lights. They haven't been the game of the week. Most people can't even name 5 of their players, right?
Yeah, and then there were some critical moments where games kind of got away from them. They should have won the one in Seattle, but they didn't. A game against Atlanta, the Eric Berry game, he just goes ballistic, and he makes a play, turns a 2-point conversion into a play for his team, and they come from behind and they win. Matt Ryan was cruising towards a potential MVP until Eric Berry spoiled, I think, what was an MVP run. But yeah, the Falcons have not gone away. They can rush the quarterback, unlike previous seasons. And Matt Ryan is playing lights out, and he's got a combo of running backs in Coleman as well as Devontae Freeman, who can make a lot of plays and really make it easy for their team to win. I love what the Falcons are doing in 2016.
Hey, man, we'll see you in a couple weeks in Houston at the Super Bowl. We'll be set up on Radio Row. I know you'll be there visiting and working. And, hey, Super Bowl in Houston this year. Imagine if the Cowboys show up, how crazy that's going to be.
They won't have to leave the state of Texas in the postseason, considering how they have home field advantage, right?
Yeah, it'll be a real show if that's going on. And, far be it for me to root for the Cowboys, but, I mean, if the Patriots are involved or the Steelers, I got to consider some things, Solly. So this is tough for Ravens fans to be watching this postseason and to be out. But we shall rise again in 2017. It's always great to check in with you, man. We'll keep following you out on Twitter, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
All right, Ness. Take care. Always good to be on with you.
Always a pleasure to have you. Solomon's Wisdom is the way to find Solomon Wilcots out on Twitter, and he is calling the Indianapolis-Jacksonville game. A lot of meaningless games this week, a couple meaningful games. I know they're trying to set this thing up on the schedule better. The Sunday night game, obviously Green Bay and Detroit, will be sort of kind of for all the marbles, and a lot of other seeding and moving around, and teams trying to figure out, Oakland trying to figure out if McGloin can play or not, Seattle trying to figure out some stuff as well as Kansas City and get themselves ready for playoff action next week. You can find me out in the Bayou Toyota Audio Vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device by downloading the TuneIn Radio app. Happy New Year to everyone out there, and if you need me this year or next year, nasty at WNST.net finds me. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, and streaming live on our Facebook and our YouTube WNSTV channel. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.